My name's Tim Arnson. I've had a few requests on how I root cuttings. Here are the cuttings right here. Oh, you got them, Carolyn?
Uh-huh.
Okay. First, a few things first. You gotta have the right type of soil. And I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube. I've had some courses in soils. You really don't want the stuff you buy at Walmart or whatever, the potting mix. I've got some potting mix in here, but I mix old crumbled up decayed leaves. I use dirt. I use something called coir, C-O-I-R, and I use sand. I mix stuff together to where I get a consistency. And this is being used for, these are upright elephant ears that just came up. Anyway, you want soil, it has to have three things. It has to have moisture, it has to have air, and it has to have nutrients. Air you get by minute air pockets in there. If you squish it and it won't break apart like that, it's going to be no good. This type of material here will hold moisture ridiculously well, and it has a lot of nutrients. So however you do this, or whatever combination you use, you want that type of consistency. That's the only way that those roots can feel comfortable, get started, and keep growing. That's your most important thing you can do, is however you do it. Don't use regular sand. I watched a lot of YouTube videos first a long time ago and trying to figure out what to do, and some of them work, some don't, but I find that this works best. So next thing you need a container, something to put over. First off, when I did this, I'd have 150, 200 going at one time. And you put it in there, you've got to spray that white. You don't want to completely spray it. You want a little light coming in there, especially on the top. So once you put your cyan wood in there, squish that down and water it initially and every day or two, because it has to stay moist down on the piece of the wood that is trying to root. After I did hundreds of these, I went ahead and thought, why don't I use a bigger container? So what you would do here is you'd cut off the bottom anywhere you want in there, and then you've got your cap, and you just kind of make sure that it's in there. They don't squish down as good as glass, but you can put up a little water, whatever, it'll stand. I mean, you could probably do, maybe 40 or 50 of them in a spot like that. This kind of worked out better because what I tried to do is let them stay in this medium throughout the summer. That way, when you're ready to take them to the garden, they'll have a good root, they'll grow, they'll live, and this worked great. That's what I started with, and then I used something between, like here's about the proper size. That would be perfect. That old ammonia there, trying to get rid of groundhogs. So you would just cut off the bottom. That's about the perfect size. So moving right along, here's the various ones I cut off today. Show you how I do it. I've got a couple of butterfly bushes, Miss Molly and Miss Violet. Terrific 3 or 4 foot, maybe 5 foot butterfly bushes. That's about all I buy, except for some big ones for the butterflies. So let's look at that first, because basically how you do one is how you do the others. Where a branch meets the plant is there's a lot of hormones right in this area. So you want to scrape it on one side, scrape it on another, so you've got a clean scrape. Then you want to cut this thing, I don't know, anywhere from, to me, 4 inches to 6. So I might cut him here. You want to take off most of the leaves. It don't matter if you get half a leaf left. That's kind of something that now to me, that's perfect. It doesn't put so much stress on the rooting area trying to get these leaves to live. So then what you would do, you got your soil all in good shape, and you got that. The rooting hormone, I had it here a minute ago. Aha, I'll bet it's under here. Yep. Now, I've experimented using gel, powder, this is fast root, and none at all. Where the dog is lying there years ago, I used regular dirt, not regular dirt, but just good dirt, but with no rooting hormone. And I was surprised that they did just about as good, or as good. It shocked me. I don't know, then I started, so you want to get that a little wet, want to get tap it off, stick her down, that's about a good size. This should all be extremely, you should have about, 6 inches of soil to where you can put it down 3 or 4 or 5 inches like that. Give it that business right there. Just water that sucker in good. And and then that's perfect. And then, like I say, just keep her watered. Okay. Now, and they root readily. Butterfly bushes root readily. We'll go to a rose. Once again, you've got this situation here. Cut that off there. Might be able to get 2 of them right there. That's great. Cut them off right there. I would go ahead, cut that whole thing off, strip off most of the leaves, cut her right there, get it wet, put it in here, and there you go again. Down to where it's deep enough to where it's not going to dry out, and cap it off. So that was I think that was a flower carpet red. Now, here's a bunch of this is what are they, Carolyn? This is pink
Rose of Sharon.
Yeah, Rose of Sharon, but it is, I'll remember it in a minute. I talked about it in my video. Here's a blue one, and this is just a regular Rose of Sharon. So, you want to, best off, you want to do this in the spring. I can't bend over. You want to do this in the spring before you get really woody wood, tough wood, but you don't want to do it when stuff is still green. It has to have a little bit of, so it can't be floppy. So that's a tricky part. But I also believe, now, a lot of plants won't root like in roses. Hybrid teas, floribundas, all of them, just forget it. Don't even try that. Rose of Sharon will root readily. Now this one is a little woody. Sometimes you'll have luck and won't expect it, but this one, I would cut it right like that. Strip those off. Boy, that's a pretty one. And then, if I can find my little razor blade, I would strip him like that. Maybe a little one right there. And that's a super duper. And it's a little stiff. But you'll find out that things will happen that, you know, you wouldn't expect that. Daggone, all of a sudden it's one of the better ones. Stick him in there good and firm. Put the top on it. Like that. And about 3 or 4 weeks, it should develop roots. I have maybe 70% will root, and of those 70, 40% will end up with a great root system. I'll leave them in there all summer, transplant them in the fall or next spring, then you'll have a really nice root. You could take them up real quick and put them in a pot when they got little roots, but they don't do near as good as if you'll let them in here. And I got my water tank right over there for the rest of the stuff in my working area. And so it's real handy for me just to water them every day or two. Let's see, what else? I want to say, you get old, your brain goes. So, I guess that's about it. Do it in the spring, not so early that stuff is still real green and real flexible. They say in rose bushes, that's what I first got my start with. After the first flush of flowers begins to lose their petals, that's the time to do it. That's really not a bad deal right there. You can have it a little firmer, a little more woody. That would be a real good one right here. That's a good stiffness right there. Or that ain't bad. You don't want it real woody. But anyway, it's a spring deal. Let them grow all summer, and then in the fall they'll be wonderful. So let's look at these for a second. These are upright elephant ears. Big box stores selling elephant ears, and they flop and everything. All these came from one years ago. They're now in the fall. There's one to move, give away. Here's another one. That's a little one. So, upright elephant ears. They're the best things I've given away, moved them. These all came here because I had nothing else to do with them. All right, there you go. There's a few things that I forgot yesterday to mention about the care of your cuttings. You can take the jar off or whatever you use at any time to check them out. They're mature, they're ready when you give them a little tug and they don't want to release. They'll also start to put on a few leaves at the very tips. You'll notice the new ones from the old ones. So once they develop like that, you can take the jar off for the rest of the summer and just keep them watered. Don't let them dry out too much. When you do move them, try to get a whole shovel full to take to the garden or wherever you're going to plant them. Just don't bare root them. I never like to bare root anything. Fertilization. After they start to show that they've rooted, you can start fertilizing them with something water-based. Don't ever put just granular fertilizer on them. It can be an organic tea compost, a weak water-based commercial, or I get fish emulsion or something like that. It's real organic, and put a little bit of that. Okay, that's about all the time I got. And we'll end this quickie with my favorite, the pink chiffon. See ya.